Yo, what's good? What's good? Mic check 1 2 1 2. Of course, I had some struggle stream issues, but I appreciate everybody for tuning in. This is going to be a attorney's deep dive into what is going on with NBA player Josh Giddey and this investigation inquiry that's going on. They use all these different words, but DFD going to break it down for you, the difference between an inquiry, investigation. We're going to talk a little bit about the facts, some of the exposure. We're going to definitely talk about how this is been just 2 weeks of bag fumbling and bumbling. We see Diddy step down from Revolt. It's just kind of getting crazy out here on the bag fumbling. But Josh Giddey may be on the verge, potentially, allegedly, of fumbling an NBA bag. So we definitely are going to talk about it. If you're new to the channel, I'm Marcus, the Debt-Free Dad, where we talk about finances, attorney reactions to current events. We always try to tie it in with the money, but sometimes we just got to talk about it is what it is. I am a licensed attorney, but I'm not your attorney. So this isn't legal or financial advice. This is infotainment purposes, trying to give y'all a perspective from how attorneys look at these situations, how you probably should avoid these situations because it definitely could impact not only your bag, but your freedom. So let's go ahead and dive in. And if you're new to the channel, hey, I invite you to subscribe, hit the bell notification. If you get any value, any entertainment, a laugh, anything from this video, definitely support the channel because it does help. Now, we talking NBA potential alleged bag fumbler Josh Giddey. So let's start from the beginning. Who is Josh Giddey? Josh Giddey was the number 6 pick in the 2001 NBA draft. He's from Australia, and he comes from a familial line of ballers. His pop played professional ball overseas. His mother, I think, if not professional, played at a collegiate level. So he has a blood. And I actually watched some games with him playing. And it's what's going on, sis? I appreciate you tuning in. And yeah, this is a crazy story. When I did research, I dove down a rabbit hole. I'm gonna put a link to a video that purportedly discloses some leaked text from a group chat. I'm not going to really touch on those because I can't check the authenticity of those texts. But believe me, if those group texts are legitimate texts, this dude is going to be screwed. But, I couldn't prove the validity of them. Right now they're allegations. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to go ahead and put those text messages out there. But I will put the link to that video in the description box of this video, and I'll probably throw it up in the chat in a few minutes. Now that we know who Josh Giddey is, let's just kind of talk about a general overview of what happened before I dive into the article. A couple of videos that I want to play, very short. We're going to get through it. In short, what happens, these are all allegations, but I like to refer to social media as self-snitching. Even though they're allegations, if you are doing something wrong and it's over the internet, you use social media, it is going to be a problem. I appreciate it, sis. Good seeing you as well. I hope you enjoy the holiday season past and the upcoming holiday season as well. And so allegedly what happened, some photos were posted on social media. These photos were by a young lady. Early on, nobody really knew her age. She could potentially be as young as 15. Sophomore in high school. Initially, the thoughts were that she was either a junior or senior. That turned out to look like it's not true. She may likely be a sophomore in high school, but we know as young as 15. This all occurred in California. California is one of the very few places in the United States where the age of majority for consent, and I'm going to replace some words with other words because YouTube like to demonetize videos when you're just trying to go through the facts of the case. But 18 years is the age of consent in California, which is better than most places. Most places, most states in the United States, age 16 is the age of consent in most states. The vast majority of states is 16. But this purportedly occurred in California. Age 18 is the age of consent. And it's always funny because I was just explaining, as I was talking about this case to my son, it's weird because you have a lot of states where the age of consent is 16, but if a person is in possession of photos of an individual under the age of 18, that's a crime. But the laws are different all over. California is 18. Now, what happened was some social media posts got leaked, of course, from the young lady in this case, where she made a video. Hey, I'm dating Josh Giddey. They took photos together. He has a video on the internet where he's talking to this young lady's or this girl's brother. He has another video where they're like standing in the mirror and he's taking like a shirtless selfie with her. And another video when they're leaving the club and he's like, yeah, we about to go back to the crib. It is all terrible stuff that's incriminating as hell if these allegations are in fact valid. Once all those videos kind of circulated, well, in this good old social media age, somebody made a social media post, I believe it was on Instagram, where they talked about how Josh Giddey needs to be stopped. This girl is only 15. She's still in high school. And then in that post, they linked all of these videos and all the other things that I discussed earlier that was just kind of out there in the social media form. Now, we know once things hit social media, it kind of stirs the pot. The buzz got going. Now, we know that post has subsequently been deleted, but that's what got us here to this point. So let's dive into the article real quick so we can get the nuances. But yeah, as young as 15, there's some discrepancy between whether he's a sophomore or junior, but worst case scenario, 15 for him. But it don't make a difference because in California, the age of consent is 18. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at this article. Go ahead. All right, Thunder God Josh Giddey being investigated by police on alleged relationship with underage girl. Now, initially, before I even go into this article, the NBA was actually investigating this case. Now, let me tell y'all about NBA investigations, right? I ain't gonna say they're a joke, but they kind of laughable. But let me tell you about investigations that are done internally at organizations before I even go in that article. Initially, the NBA was investigating the claims. An NBA investigation is likely not going to turn up anything in a case like this. Well, DFD, why wouldn't it turn up anything? Because no one has an obligation to comply with anything. The NBA doesn't have any type of subpoena powers where they can compel a party to provide evidence or documents. They can't do a deposition. The only person who has to comply with the NBA investigation is the actual player themselves. Now, I'm not a rocket scientist, but I think an investigation is being done by an internal organization because they don't have that ability to compel people to tell the truth. The only person who's obligated to help are the people who are employed within that organization. It makes it that much harder to try to find an investigation that's internal that's really going to be fruitful unless they were just sloppy as hell. Like if again, these are allegations, but in a situation where the NBA would have a really good investigation would be if he was using his team phone to communicate. That would be stupid. But if he was using his personal phone, it's going to make it a lot more difficult because the NBA doesn't have those powers to compel people to do stuff. And as somebody who have conducted internal investigations in an organization, I know he would never quit because this is an NBA bag. But what you often see a lot of times is if someone does have some exposure, they'll just go ahead and quit. People working at Google, you did something wrong at Google. Google's doing an internal investigation. You're obligated to comply. A lot of people be like, you know what? I quit effective immediately just to walk away and walk out of the exposure. Yeah, and I'm going to get into that because there can be a shitload of exposure if he was transporting this young lady across state lines. Apparently, it looks like she's a resident of California, but if he was taking her to games in OKC, oh man, the exposure is going to be crazy as hell. But the NBA was doing the investigation. I don't think the NBA has enough power to compel evidence from anybody outside of the person who's actually employed by the NBA. So I kind of knew that investigation was going to go absolutely nowhere. But then we get to this article where it says, okay, the police are investigating. The first article I saw, they said that the police are doing an inquiry. Then later on, I saw articles where they said investigation. The difference between an inquiry and an investigation. If I get a complaint and someone throws it on my desk, that's an inquiry. We may not even officially open up a case. Normally what happens, and I can just speak from my experience, normally what happens, a complaint comes in, you see something on social media and you say, this might be worth looking at. Let's not open an official case, so we aren't going to have an official investigation. We're just going to do an inquiry into what we see to see if there's a credible allegation of potential wrongdoing, misconduct, or a crime. And so that's the only difference. When there's an inquiry, they may not have an actual formal case open. There's going to be no case file. Normally, they'll just give that case, hey, this is what we saw on social media. They'll give it to a couple of investigators, a couple of officers, maybe an auditor, somebody who can do some open source research, computer forensic stuff. Hey, take a look at this and y'all let us know if there's a credible allegation here that can lead to or show potential misconduct or crime. If there is, we'll actually open a case. So the fact that it went from an inquiry to an investigation, it does have some importance because an investigation means that, we got people assigned to it. There's an actual case number that's assigned to this case. It's on the books. A Freedom of Information Act could potentially be done inquiring about this potential investigation. All right, now let's go ahead and take a look at this article because it's kind of crazy. Thunder guard Josh Giddey being investigated by police on alleged relationship with underage girl. The Newport Beach, California Police Department said Wednesday that its detectives are conducting an investigation into an accusation that Oklahoma City Thunder guard Josh Giddey had an improper relationship with an underage girl. In a since-deleted post, an anonymous social media user last week said the girl who is seen with Giddey in videos and photographs was a high school junior at the time. The social media account has since been deactivated. Giddey, an Australian who recently turned 21 in October. The Newport Beach Police said in a news release that it is actively seeking additional information related to these allegations and pursuing all leads and evidence to obtain the facts of the case. NBA spokesman Mike Bass said Wednesdays the league's investigation is ongoing, which the league ain't gonna find nothing because ain't nobody got to participate except him. We are aware of the report regarding the Newport Beach Police Department's investigation, he said, and we are continuing to gather information. Giddey has declined to comment on the situation so far. Thunder head coach had no comment before Tuesday's game, and the team did not immediately respond to requests or comments on Wednesday. Now, hey, I don't know if he played well under pressure, but hey, this dude playing good. I will give him that. He is playing relatively well in this game. Now, I will tell you, he looks like a high school senior, but if he looks like a high school senior, the girl, in my opinion, looks like she's 12. To me, like I saw her and I was like, how old is this girl? 12? So I want to pull up a video. It's only going to be a few seconds. I want y'all to just kind of see the videos that led to all of this. And you can actually take a look at the girl to, give your opinion on how old do you think she looks. Because California has a unique defense to a statutory grape charge. and I'm going to talk about that. But it's going to come into play on how old do you all think that this girl actually looks. She looks like she's 12 to me. He sucked when they got the him last night. Yeah. At home, they gave him a round of applause because that's the home crowd. People don't care what you do if your team is winning. But when you go on the road, they're going to let you have it. That's why in the thumbnail, y'all see I put Karl Malone. and my former favorite player ever in the NBA, Kevin Johnson. I don't know, but, you know, Giddey is being compared to Karl Malone because of these allegations, because Karl Malone, allegedly, it may have been proven true, but had a situation with an underage girl during his time in the NBA. But that was in the like 80s, 90s, where times was way different. Still creepy as hell. And KJ, the other guy in the thumbnail picture, was my all-time favorite player. Before I came a hometown guy whose team historically sucks, I was a Phoenix Suns fan, and KJ was that dude. He was dunking on Olajuwon. Him and Chuck Barkley was getting to the finals. I was really excited. He ends up becoming the mayor of Sacramento when he retires. And after he leaves office, all the creepy-ass allegations about him and his creep-ass ways allegedly came out. So that's why those guys made the thumbnail, because it was just kind of the thumbnail of people who were alleged to have been creeps in some capacity. All right, let me go and get this video up, because I want y'all to take this video and y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. How old does this young lady look to you? Like, y'all let me know what y'all thoughts are. All right, let's go ahead and share this. Make sure I got it up. All right, now I'm actually going to let me put the link to this video, and because I want y'all to watch this video, okay? I'm not gonna talk about a lot of the facts in this video, but I am gonna post the link to this video, because the individual in this video, which I thought was an interesting video, shout out to him. Channel's called Self Talk. But in this video, he presents what the internet is saying, release text messages in a group chat. I'm not going to stand on those just yet. I don't really want to report on those just yet, because no one knows the authenticity of those. I can't gauge the authenticity of those. And yeah, I'm an attorney. I got to keep it clean and keep everything on, make sure we on doing the legal side of the game. I don't want to defame nobody. But y'all take a look at that video that I just dropped, and I'll pin it in the description box of this comments. If those messages that self-talk shows in this video are in fact proven accurate, hey, how you doing, baby? You good? You all right? Oh, it's gonna be going for a while. I just started. All right. Take a look at it, flip it over, and put it back in for 10 minutes if it's done. If it's done on what it's on already, flip it over with the tongs and put it in there for another 8 to 10 minutes. All right? I'm not gonna die. I just ate a piece. No. But still go put it back in there. That's what you get. Close the door. You always need to come talk to me. You can talk to the chef. Silly. But all right, let me play this video. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Like I said, if the messages that this guy put in his video, I'm not gonna play those messages as true. This dude will be screwed royally, but right now I can't verify the veracity of those messages, so I won't play it. But I want to show y'all the video just so y'all can see what happened. Even right here, she looked like she's 7 to me, but that's just me.
Hey guys, I dated Josh. We don't have to talk about it.
All right. That reaction alone is the reaction of somebody who's probably 13 to 15, in my opinion. Not to mention just her looks, but that's kind of crazy.
Hey guys, I dated Josh. We don't have to talk about it.
Now, in this video right here, this second little clip, they're leaving the club, and they're at the club, they're leaving the club, and he's like essentially like, hey, she about to go back to the crib, but he using Australian talk.
What's up, my man? From the club. Me and my girl. Better head back to mine. Man.
I thought that was hilarious that they play R. Kelly music and just those few clips. But yo, y'all go check out that actual video. I'm not gonna lie, with filters and all, she looks 17 and 19, but I can almost bet she behaves like a child. Yeah, I would be shocked. Like, and I've actually saw. I just didn't want to put because I saw her Instagram before she made it private. It wasn't private before, but I did see her Instagram, and I didn't even feel comfortable looking at the Instagram video because her, it was like, ugh, like I don't know. I don't know. She looked a little young to me. I don't see 17, but maybe that's just me. I agree. The fact that she's, like they're roasting her. Now I gotta go look to see what it says on Twitter. That's funny. They're roasting her on Twitter. But I mean, she a 15-year-old allegedly who's in an alleged relationship with somebody in the NBA. Like, how much more vulnerable could somebody be? Like, and this dude is like a Youngface guy, so he doesn't look like really old and creepy. So she probably processing it like, oh, it ain't no big deal. I'm just kind of with this guy. But trust me, if you're doing something crazy out there, that is going to be thrown out there. He should be better advised, obviously, or he just ignored it. And that's going to play an important role. I saw a video where a former NBA player named Brian Reeves was talking about it on this video. He used to play for, I think, the Memphis Grizzlies or something, but he is an Australian-born athlete as well. And he was talking, and he said, according to him, I don't want to go into that whole video, but he said apparently the team knew about this situation for some time now. And the other thing he said, which I thought was interesting, and is why people shouldn't comment when they aren't well versed on the legalities of it. His take was, I don't think that if she is underage, I don't think that he knew she was underage and he wasn't overtly going out there to try to find underage girls, which is the word on the street according to this NBA player. We don't know what the word on the street is. We don't know the facts behind it. All I know is, hey, in California, the law says 18. That's 18. Now, California is one of these unique places, and I want to pull up the statute to make sure I get it right because but I did some research. Your boy tried to do some research because I don't like to just be out there just looking wild. Okay, so in California, the age of consent is 18 years old. Statutory rape does not depend on the lack of consent or force. It is illegal for anyone under the age of consent to legally give consent. In California, statutory rape can either be a misdemeanor or a felony, depending on aggravating factors. What are those aggravating factors? If the person is more than 3 years older, it's an aggravating factor. If the person is 2 years, less than 3 years, it's not held as an aggravating factor. It's not a mitigating factor. It's just not an aggravating factor. So it could be a misdemeanor or a felony, just depending on the facts as the facts come out. Now, this is how it gets interesting, okay? These are the factors. If the victim was under the age of 16, that's the aggravating factor. Probably going to push it towards that felony. If the victim was unconscious during the act, is an aggravating factor. If the offender used fraud, deceit, or false promises to induce the victim, that's an aggravating factor. If the offender was a member of the victim as a caretaker, aggravating factor. And if the offender held the position of authority over the victim, that's an aggravating factor. That last aggravating factor is actually kind of interesting because I think that anybody who's a damn adult, has a position of authority over somebody who isn't an adult to some degree. I think that's just kind of my personal take on it. Yeah, and so, but now some states do have what a lot of people, they refer to it as Jack and Jill laws, right? And I remember when I was in the military, you can sign up, a person can join the military at the age of 17 with their parents' consent. So I'll never forget, I had a soldier who joined at 17, he was in, I want to say he just turned 17. Maybe like 9 months later, he turned 18. But when he got in at 17, he was dating a 16-year-old. And it wasn't a real issue, but because they weren't that much older. It was only like a 9-month difference or something like that. But the minute he turned 18, it potentially could have been a problem. But luckily, they had what is referred to as a Jack and Jill law. And that essentially puts some exceptions in place if the people are in close proximity in age. You know, if you have a 17-year-old and a 16-year-old, those Jack and Jill provisions that some states have will make things work out in a way so where it's not criminal per se. But hey, every state don't have those, so it's no guarantee. Geez, Elvis and Jerry Lee Lewis wouldn't feel where today's age. Yeah, I know, right? A lot of celebrities who in today's age don't feel too well in today's age. So the question is, with these allegations, what are the chances that this investigation will actually lead to anything? Well, I can tell you as a former defense attorney who represented people charged with these types of crimes, I've never seen one of these offenses move forward if they don't have the participation of the victim. Can it move forward without the participation of the victim? It absolutely can, but that means they would have to find evidence from an alternative source if the victim isn't going to, if the victim isn't going to participate. So I think that that's something that's probably going to work out in his favor. Trust me, if Josh Giddey bagged groceries at your local Harris Teeter, the parents would probably be on the stand. She would be on the stand if the minute he did some stupid stuff. But he in the NBA, he got an NBA bag. Is there some, let's just think about this. Is there what some people may consider an incentive for the alleged victim, the purported victim, and her family not to move forward if they are in a relationship? Yeah, the power of the dollar. So typically, I've never seen these type of cases move forward without the actual victim participation, unless they had crazy evidence from somewhere else. If it was a third party, someone else who saw something, so if it was something like that, but generally no. And according to the reports on TMZ, it looks like that the family does not want to participate. Let me see. I want to make sure I'm right on that. It says the police department just released a statement on the Josh Giddey investigation saying they're seeking more information. The inquiry into whether or not he had an appropriate relationship with the minor has hit a roadblock. TMZ Sports has learned that the alleged teen and her family are refusing to cooperate with officials. Law enforcement tells sources police would honestly like to speak with the purported female and those close to her to gather more information regarding the social media claims that were made over the weekend. But right now, no one is talking. The significant component of the whole situation, as a lack of cooperation, will make it much more challenging for officials to determine whether any laws were broken. Now, there is one thing, okay? Like, let's just keep it a buck. There is one thing that's going to make this, I guess not going to make it, I guess that's going to make this investigation a little bit easier, is people talk all the time. People send messages all the time. So if this is a high school girl and she's allegedly dealing with an NBA player, trust me, she's going to tell someone saw something. The family may or may not say anything. I don't know. Like, let's just be honest. Like, the family may be like, nah, they cool. He got an NBA bag. We're going to leave it alone. That could be their position. Because I've seen that happen. I've seen victims and families not want to cooperate as long as things were going good. But the minute they go south, they're like, nah. It ain't no statute of limitations on that great charge. We're going to move forward. Let's go talk to prosecutors. So you really put yourself in, he really put himself in a tough situation. Now, what are the defenses to statutory rape? Generally, it is what it is. Most states split. Most states follow a strict type of statutory interpretation where this is the age. Anything that's not that age is a crime. We don't give a damn what you knew or what you didn't know. Now, in the example of California is one of those places that are unique, and California actually has a defense. Common defense strategy, okay? Here's one of the defense strategy, okay? When defending against a charge of statutory rape in California, the most common strategy is to argue that the defendant honestly and reasonably believed that the victim was over the age of consent. So the victim was 18 or older. Now, so essentially, a mistake in a reasonable belief in California could potentially get you off the hook for this type of criminal conduct. But we got to be careful because when we read it, it says two things in there. It says the defendant honestly, so one, you have to have an honest belief that Josh Giddey would have to have an honest belief that she was of age. What would that be? If an honest belief would be if he saw an ID, she had a fake ID and she showed him an ID, he would be like, oh yeah, I honestly believe that. Or if, hey, I talked to her parents, I know her parents, I'm in videos with her parents told me that she was 18. Honest belief. But you got to have something in addition to an honest belief. You got to have an honest belief and reasonably believe, okay? So let's break that down. You got to have an honest belief and a reasonable belief. Not honest or reasonable. Honest, so you got to honestly believe that she was of age, Giddey, and it has to be reasonable. So let me explain a situation, an example of how that would work. If she showed a fake ID, like they met allegedly in a club, a 15-year-old typically can't get into a club. So honest belief that she's of age. Now, what would be a reasonable belief? What if they had a conversation and she said, yeah, you can come pick me up from school tomorrow. I go to such and such high school down the road. You may have had an honest belief because you met her in the club, and normally people under the age of 18 aren't getting in clubs. But when she told you to come pick her up from school and it was the local high school, would a reasonable person believe that they were of age? So that's going to be an interesting test. You have to have both of those things. It has to be an honest belief, like, I honestly believe she was of age because I met her in a club. That would be the argument that I would make. We met in a club, and to get in the club, you got to be 18. I had an honest belief she was 18. But the next thing is, and did you have a reasonable belief that she was 18? If you picked her up from high school, it's probably not honest and reasonable. So it's going to be interesting to see how that play out. And that's a specific California nuance that California has in their statute. If this interaction would have occurred in Oklahoma don't got no honest belief. If you honestly and reasonably thought the person was of age, they don't care. They just go by that number. And if it's under that number, it's a wrap. You going to prison. And so, but yeah, that's a unique law that they have in California as an actual affirmative defense. And California has some weird cases out there because I wanted to look, because there are people who have had worse factual situations than these allegations against Josh Giddey and have got community service. The People versus Brittain in 2016. This case concerned a 24-year-old soccer coach who allegedly had an inappropriate relationship with a 14-year-old student. Defendant was charged with a felony. However, due to a plea deal, the charges were reduced to a misdemeanor and the defendant was sentenced to only 250 hours of community service. That's crazy as hell. There was another case where in 2017, the People versus Prost, where a defendant was 18-year-old, a high school senior. He was charged and convicted of felony rape for engaging in a relationship with a 15-year-old. The defendant was sentenced to 4 years in prison, and people criticize that sentence is too harsh. So it's all going to depend on the facts. Right now, these are just allegations. But let me put this. Let me see if I can find it. Y'all make sure y'all check out that link that I dropped earlier. I'm gonna drop it one more time so y'all can paste that in and just take a look. Check out that video because if those text messages that were purportedly leaked are authentic, it could be a long day for Mr. Giddey. But right now, it looks like everything is allegations. Now, the other question is the NBA doing the right thing by still letting this guy hoop? I don't know. All I'll say is the NBA bothers me with their lack of consistency. Okay, that's the thing. I don't care what your policy is, just be consistent. If you aren't gonna suspend the player based off of allegations and no criminal charges being filed, do that all the time. Don't suspend the person. Just be consistent. So I generally think the NBA is being inconsistent in general, but I think they are being consistent just based on what the allegations are, because I watched the NBA for a long time, and Karl Malone had those allegations out there for a lot of years, and he was playing his ass off. I'm sure they had some things with KJ that were out there, and he was hooping as well. So they're generally inconsistent with how they hand down punishments in the NBA. And if criminal charges haven't been filed or a person hasn't been convicted, but they are being consistent when it comes to these type of allegations, because we haven't seen these allegations too often in the NBA. But when we have, people were still balling, so they still letting these guys ball. Now, Josh Giddey gonna catch hell every time he goes somewhere that's not a home game. But you potentially play stupid games, and you could potentially win a stupid prize. That's it for this video. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. It's all allegations, but if somebody asks me to guess, I don't think the family is going to participate. I think if they do find anything, it's going to be from a third party or another individual who may have been a victim. I think that's my take. I just don't think that as a grown-ass man at 21, if these allegations are true and the family doesn't participate, it's going to make it very difficult against that person. But if these allegations are true, chances are it's probably not the first time you did this. So if it's not the first time you did this, hey, I wouldn't be shocked if these allegations hold up and are factually sound if you don't see a third party come out. That's normally how you see these things, especially when it comes to somebody famous, because California not only authorizes criminal sanctions, but it's some civil exposure as well. And Josh Giddey does have an NBA bag. So it wouldn't surprise me if there's another potential alleged victim out there who's willing to come forward and try to get a hold of that bag. And, if the facts prove the facts, I mean, that's justice on their part anyway. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. Hey, as always, if you enjoyed this video, check out the video that's going to pop on the screen. You're probably going to enjoy that as well. And shout out to everybody who tuned in. Shout out to the first timer. Hey, I appreciate you. Y'all take care. Be blessed. My daughter came up here. I got to get down there. She just got home for dance. So I got to get down there and make sure her plate is piping hot. Because, Chef DFD, I'm the cook in the house. Because I'd be damned if I'm going to be driving all the kids around looking like a black Uber to take them all them places. I'd rather sit at home and cook than to do all that damn traveling. Y'all take care. Peace.